The Holy Gospel according to John.
Glory to you, O Lord.
I invite you to stand as long as you can. I understand that this is a very long gospel lesson. So if you cannot stand the whole time, God won't be offended. Now a certain man was ill, Lazarus of Bethany, the village of Mary and her sister Martha. Mary was the one who anointed the Lord with perfume and wiped his feet with her hair. Her brother Lazarus was ill. So the sister sent a message to Jesus, "Lord, he whom you love is ill." But when Jesus heard it, he said, "This illness does not lead to death. Rather it is for God's glory, so that the Son of God may be glorified through it." Accordingly, though, Jesus loved Mary and Martha and her sister and Lazarus. And after having heard that Lazarus was ill, he stayed 2 days longer in the place where he was. Then after this, he said to the disciples, "Let us go to Judea again." And the disciples said to him, "Rabbi, the Jews were just now trying to stone you, and are you going there again?" And Jesus answered them, "Are there not 12 hours of daylight? Those who walk during the day do not stumble, because they see the light of this world. But those who walk at night stumble, because the light is not in them." After saying this, he told them, Our friend Lazarus has fallen asleep, but I am going there to awaken him." The disciples said to him, "Lord, if he's fallen asleep, he'll be all right." Jesus, however, he wasn't speaking about sleeping. He was speaking about death. Then Jesus told them plainly, "Lazarus is dead. But for your sake, I'm glad I was not there, so that you may believe. But let us now go to him." Thomas, who was called the twin, said to his fellow disciples, "Let us all go also, that we may die with him." When Jesus arrived, he found that Lazarus had already been in the tomb 4 days. Now Bethany was near Jerusalem, some 2 miles away, and many of the Jews had come to Mary and Martha's home to console them about their brother. When Martha heard that Jesus was coming, she went and met him, while Mary stayed at home. And when Martha found Jesus, she said to him, "Lord, if you had been here, my brother would not have died. But even now I know that God will give you whatever you ask of him." And Jesus said to Martha, "Your brother will rise again." And Martha said to him, "I know that he will. He'll rise again in the resurrection of the last day." And Jesus said to her, "I am the resurrection and the life. Those who believe in me those who believe in me, even though they die, they will live. And everyone who lives and believes in me will never die. Do you believe this?" Martha said to him, "Yes, Lord, I believe that you are the Messiah, the Son of God, the one coming into the world." When she had said this, she went back and called her sister Mary and told her privately, "The teacher is here, and he's calling for you." And when Mary heard this, she got up quickly and went to him. Now Jesus had not yet come to the village, but there was still at the place where Martha had met him. The Jews who were with her in the house consoling her saw Mary get up quickly, and they thought she was going to go mourn at the tomb, and they followed her. When Mary came where Jesus was and saw him, she knelt at his feet and said to him, "Lord, if you had been here, my brother would not have died." When Jesus saw her weeping, and the Jews came also with her were weeping, he was greatly disturbed in spirit and deeply moved. Jesus wept. So the Jews said, "See how he loved him?" But some of them said, "Could not he who opened the eyes of the blind man have kept this man from dying?" Then Jesus, again greatly disturbed, came to the tomb. It was a cave, and a stone was laying against it. And Jesus said, "Take away the stone." Martha said to the Lord, "Already there's a stench. He's been dead for 4 days." And Jesus said to her, "Did I not tell you that if you believed, you would see the glory of God?" So they took away the stone. And Jesus looked up and said, "Father, I thank you, for you have heard me. I know that you always hear me. But I have said this for the sake of the crowd standing here, so that they may believe that you sent me." When he had said this, he cried out with a loud voice, "Lazarus, come out!" The dead man came out, his hands and feet bound with strips of cloth, and his face wrapped in a cloth. Jesus said to them, "Unbind him and let him go." Many of the Jews, therefore, who had come with Mary and had seen what Jesus did, believed in him. The gospel of the Lord.
Praise to you, O Christ.
Sit. So this morning, you came to worship with expectations, whether you know that or not. You came and expected your pastor to be in long breeches and with or without shoes, a clerical shirt, and a collar. I am not. I am liturgically right. I'm in purple. You came to worship this morning knowing that you were going to hear what the children were going to be taught this morning, and then you were going to confess your sins and be forgiven. But that didn't happen this morning. Instead, this morning you started out with a song and thought, the pastor's gone crazy. We better help her. She knows not what she does. As you can see this morning, I have erupted your expectations and blown them out of the water. Do not fear. Normalcy will return. That's what happened today in the gospel lesson. There were so many expectations. First, Jesus is with his disciples and a messenger comes and says, "Lazarus is sick." Now, did the messenger expect that Jesus was going to go right then and there with him? Probably. But Jesus did the unexpected and said, "Oh, whatever he's got, it won't kill him. We can wait." And he waited, right? We didn't expect him to wait. We expected him to go. And then he tells the disciples, "We're going back." And they're like, "Nuh-uh. We can't go back. You almost got stoned there." That's not what they were expecting. And Jesus said, "Oh no, we're going back. Things are going to happen in Bethel, and you have to be there to see it with me." And so they go. And lo and behold, as expected, Lazarus is dead. Martha had huge expectations for the Lord because they were like best friends, BFFs today. And she said, "I expected you to come. And you didn't. And now my brother died. And it's all your fault." And Jesus is like, Martha, I'm sorry, I get them confused all the time. "Martha, listen, good things are going to happen. I've told you that. Your brother will be alive again. Believe in me." And she says, "Well, okay, I do, I think." So she goes and tells Mary, "Jesus is here. Let's go." So Mary comes up to Jesus. She's kinder this time. And she says, "Jesus, if you were here, my brother would have died. Shame on you. You didn't come. And I expected you to. Because I know, as Martha said, I know that you can heal. Because we've seen you do it before. God will give you and do anything for you that you ask of him." Mary and Martha's expectations. And Jesus said, "If you guys would just believe me, I am the one who was to come and is here and now. I am the light. I am the resurrection. And the stone is rolled away, and Lazarus is reborn again and walks the earth. Expected? Unexpected. I don't know. So when we come, when we have expectations, what does that do to us? What does that do for our faith? We have expectations for ourselves. Michelle is expecting that any day now, Michaela's going to say amen at communion. And almost every Sunday, her expectation is dropped because Michaela's just not ready yet. But does that damper what happens to you in worship? No. It's okay that your expectation isn't met. I come here with expectations. Expectations that I won't cry. I'm not doing so well with that. I dropped it. I got to give it up. It doesn't work for me. We have expectations of our spouse. We have expectations of ourselves, our employers, our bosses, our pastor. And when those expectations aren't met, oh, holy heck. Life isn't so good, and we don't know what to do. We say, it's all right. I know God can do anything. And yet, are we Martha and say, well, I know he's going to come back, but not till the end times. She still doesn't truly believe who he is. Her expectations of Jesus go like this. I know God can do anything through you, yet I don't think you can bring my brother back. And that's how we are. That's how we are with our faith, with our love of God. We love God and we trust him. But there are those occasions when we go, really, God? It's not what I was expecting. Why me? Why now? But we can't let that turn our faith in a downward spiral. We got to go, okay, so it's not what I expected, but maybe it's something better than I expected. Maybe there's something to be learned in this unexpected expectance. We can close ourselves off by the expectations we have of ourselves and others when they aren't met. And because of that, we can lose so much. We can begin to lose our faith in our Lord. We can begin to lose our trust in the congregation that we live in and love. We are human, and we fail to meet our expectations often. And that's okay. Because when we truly put our faith in the Lord and really believe that he is the life, the light, and the resurrection, our expectations on him will not be disappointing. He made us a promise, and he keeps his promises. It's us who don't know what to do with the unexpected of expectations. I know it's not the right word. I haven't been able to find the right word all week. We need to give ourselves a break. We need to give our husbands and wives and our children, your pastor and the congregation and your co-workers and everybody else that you come in contact with a little break. Your expectations may be up here. Their expectations may be here. Have you ever gone somewhere, I don't know, Las Vegas? Okay, Tim wouldn't be so excited for y'all. But I love to go to Las Vegas. So we went to Las Vegas at Christmas, and I was so excited. I wanted to go back to the Rio and show Andrew the parade in the sky and all the hoochie-woochies that were there and all that stuff. And when we got there, they discontinued it. And that's the one hotel that Ron decides he's going to gamble at, and Andrew and I can do nothing. Because there's nothing there anymore for the family. My expectations were like huge, and the Rios were like, eh. Ron had fun, so his expectations were met. But Andrew and I got in trouble because I had him too close to the gambling floor. So we went up to Burger King and sat. But that's what we do to ourselves. We set something up so high. Perhaps only the Lord is the one who's going to be able to meet that expectation. Give yourself a break, guys. And give it to God. And let Him deal with the expectations of this world. The expectations you have of yourself and of the faith that you carry. He'll meet those expectations, perhaps in a way you weren't expecting. Thanks be to God.
Amen.